record this
Okay.
just to have it, because I have, this is a new flow, and I wanted to keep track of it.
Good.
I think it's
See if I can keep up, man. I tell you, I'm fatter and stiffer and more tired.
honestly me too.
Really, I don't know what it is about. Maybe it's a typical winter thing, but
Yeah.
I'm in a little bit of a funk. And I know you said you were after having COVID, and yeah, trying to snap out of it still.
Yeah, a little bit. It's gotten, I mean, I was doing some, ooh, now we crooked this way. I was doing some research about like, so I had for a long time, the lingering side effect was like I felt like I couldn't get my throat clear. So somebody was like, well, you know, zinc's really good for that. And I was like, okay, so get some zinc, started my magnesium. You know, I guess I just kind of like abandoned ship. I couldn't keep anything down for a little bit when I had COVID.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, nausea. I didn't know nausea was a side effect. And then the indigestion, that was fun. That one's still lingering, you know. So
some medications give me indigestion. Like I have to make sure I take Zyrtec during the day. If I take it at night, I cannot lay down. Like it reflux is so bad at night.
That's crazy. It's like it's usually like they said that fried foods obviously are like, so you should avoid fried foods, eggs, obviously cheese from when you had COVID. Just because of, I don't know, the protein in eggs and the cheese, you know, it doesn't help with the congestion and the feeling of like all the buildup that you get, you know. So but yeah, it was like weird. It reminded me a little bit of pregnancy, honestly. You know, like I'd eat chocolate and I'd get heartburn, and I'm like, like
yeah.
But yeah, it's been a lot better.
I had William taking the Mucinex like around the clock.
Yeah, you know. I found that was the only thing that worked, because I had this other stuff and it didn't do anything.
Yeah, and it was hard to find the 12-hour extended release next to, which was helpful. And Ezra was taking it too for quite a while.
Mucinex. I felt it way longer than the recommended time period.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't know what else to do. So
are you at the store every day?
Pretty much. I've been we had a mini break Sunday. Oh no, I think I still ended up going in. No, I didn't. It was Saturday. Tomorrow I might not go in, but because we were still not open. The health department's coming tomorrow. That's a big one.
Oh.
That's a big inspection. So that's if we go past, then it's a check back in a couple weeks kind of deal, and try to fix all the things that they say we need to redo. So.
Yeah, sometimes it's the weirdest stuff. Like you think new build would be easy, but it's like, oh, you need brighter certain light right here, and it's like, oh, that's sickening. Bright people, the workers are gonna have to wear sunglasses to be back here.
Like so far, it's been like, well, you're missing a plug. You need a plug right here. I'm like, why do we need a plug? We're not putting anything there. You need it. We're like, okay, just gotta call the electrician back out.
Wow.
Yeah. So we'll see. But we had a big job fair today, and we had like 30 people interviewed, and it was interesting. People are so many young kids, like 15, first job, and I'm like trying to get stuff out of them, and they're like, oh well, you know, I'm like, I'm so sorry. I feel like they have it extra hard because they were home, you know, for half their high school career.
Yeah, that's true.
So they're a little shy.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Everybody came in, they're like, I want to be a stalker. And I'm like, well, you're talking like we're a grocery store or something. Like, we don't have many things to stock, we'll see what happens. Fridays are the next day. We don't have as many people, but we'll see how many more we can pick up.
Did you get any good ones, you think?
Yeah, a couple of them definitely really had some outstanding. I don't know, they had good vibes, and they were punctual and they brought their resume and they were just on it, So there's a few people we feel really good about, and others they're gonna get a chance, some of them just have to learn and grow,
Yeah.
get the experience under their belts. So
Yeah.
a lot of cute little girls want to be baristas. I'm like, yeah, I can see that. And I said, well, what draws you to, the coffee, And they're like, well, cafes just have such a low key, calm vibe. And I'm like, hon, you are in the wrong place. This isn't a cafe. 2, it is not like that.
We're gonna be busy.
I guess they're thinking about it's a rainy day. They got their book. They're sitting at a cafe. It's so quiet, and you just hear the dinks of the glasses. And I'm like, that is not it.
Listening to
That is a fantasy. Yeah. They'll learn. So, well, whenever you're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
ready. Hopefully my furnace turns off soon. It's a little loud down here.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, but
Let
let's see. I'm gonna see if there's a separate volume on Zoom.
Okay. I can put my headphones in too. That might help out.
Okay.
So I get direct.
Yeah, got it up as loud as it'll go, but
Okay, is that better?
yeah. Yep.
Let's see.
Turn on.
Okay. There we go. So I don't know. You've seen my picture of my silk. It's pretty cool. It feels
That's
really
awesome.
good. Oh my
I don't know
God.
how you got that up there.
Oh, Alex did it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I just got it because I was asked to train to teach the aerial yoga class at one of the studios, and I was like, okay. And I do it so much that I was like, you know what? I'll just get one.
That's
So
that's
it's
so cool.
It's neat. It's still trying to figure it out because the fabric's really stretchy. So I've tied it and like made it taller, and it's when you sit in it, it gets weighed down. So I'm closer to the ground than I need to be, unless I'm like it's really great though when it's low. It's great for like restorative because you could just hook your feet in it and lay on the floor, and your feet are elevated, and you can just like sway them back and forth, and it feels so good on your spine and release your hips. So definitely recommend trying.
Okay. I bet the kids like it. Are the kids enjoying it?
Yeah, Lincoln can't get enough of it. He's driving me crazy with it.
That's great.
Yeah, he every day. Can I get enough?
He'll just. My headphones disconnected.
Yeah, I just noticed that. But my phone shut off too, so that's helpful.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's good. Let's see, what the heck?
Okay. Back in action. I open my phone, and as soon as my phone's connected, to the headphones, that it's like switch, and it just drops, and I was trying to press the Bluetooth faster
Oh.
than it could connect, and I didn't make it. So let's see. Okie dokie. So let's go ahead, get nice and comfortable. I called this, we're doing yoga for hips, and this is definitely a hips themed class. But this flow is kind of funky. It's very energetic. I felt like I did it this morning, and I wasn't energized, like in the sense of I was awake. It was more of like I was happy. And I just felt good endorphins,
Oh,
so
good.
we'll hopefully feel like that again.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna do my best to keep up. I do have my hips bother me a little bit. I do have a limp right now. I just
Okay.
have been overdoing it, going up and down the stairs, I think, or sitting on the floor with Ezra too much. But
Yeah.
and my finger is almost healed. I can put some pressure on my finger. So I'm mostly going to be putting my hand down with my finger sticking up like that. From when I think I messaged you and told you I apparently tried to cut my finger off.
Yes, I
It
do
was-
remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the finger's healed, but the nail is not. That's going to
Alright.
take some time.
Well,
But
then
I'll
let's
do my best to keep up.
all right, well then let's jazz it up a little bit and stay off the hands as much as
Well-
possible.
Well, I was trying downward dog, and I don't put weight on the end of my finger I cannot, that's okay. I can do
Okay.
that. I can keep that finger up. I was trying a couple things and
Okay. You could also grab
I've-
onto a block and let the hand kind of like let the fingers float a little bit.
okay.
That way you can continue to press the knuckles down and the fingers don't get as get that pressure.
Oh, yeah, if we're doing one hand. Yeah, I only
Yeah.
have one block. I need to get another
Oh,
block.
okay. Well, for the most part, we're really not on the hands too much.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, you can sit in Sukhasana. You can sit up on the knees, depending on how your hips feel. You can lengthen the spine wherever you're at. Roll the shoulders down the back. Close the eyes or keep the gaze soft. Just starting to settle in. Noticing the breath passing in and out through the nose. And with each inhale and exhale, make them a little bit deeper each time. And checking in with the body, seeing if you're holding on to any tension. The other areas that feel tight. And if you're holding on to any stress or tension, notice where its location is sitting at. If it's in the neck or the shoulder blades, even between the shoulders. Could be lower back. And even the tension you might feel in the forehead or the head. And as you begin to bring awareness to the body, wherever you need or wherever you feel like you need a little extra love, send the breath there. As you inhale, it fills the space. And your exhale helps to maybe soften a little bit. The exhale breathes in some relief, lets it go. Ready to wind down the day. Just getting some movement in. Knowing that if we feel out of practice, we've, at least come to our mats to just breathe into the body, get the blood flowing. And sometimes that's all you need. You can check in with the head, noticing what kind of thoughts are bubbling around the brain. And if you'd like to set an intention and create an affirmation or mantra for yourself for practice or something to take off your mat, you can do so. And you can keep your eyes closed, or if you would like to blink them open just to find a sense of present, we're going to just start opening up the neck a little bit. So you can drop the right ear to the right shoulder, continue to make that spine long, drop the shoulders down the back if maybe you've adjusted a little bit. And you can stay here. If you'd like to add on a little bit deeper, you can drop the chin to the chest, keeping that head tilted. You can lift the chin up to the sky, again, head still leaning towards the right. And you can hold wherever you need a little extra love, or you can floss back and forth until you find a good spot. Taking it nice and slow, breathing in and out through your movements. You don't have to focus or force the breath to be in line with your movements. You can just continue to breathe nice and steady. And wherever you are, you can finish your round, and we'll make our way back to center. We'll go ahead and switch to the other side, dropping the left ear, left shoulder. And again, maybe making little micro adjustments, dropping the shoulders, lifting the spine. And again, you can choose to stay here in some stillness, drop the chin to the chest, take your flossing, chin up to the sky, and hold wherever you feel like you need a little extra love in here. One side might feel very different than the other. And so when you go through your movements, kind of compare where you feel the most stress and the most tension, stretch or the most tension on one side versus the other. Like for example, if you're on your right side, and you had felt it in your jaw, maybe you hold a lot of tension and stress in that side of your face. And the same that goes for the left. Let's say you feel it down the neck into even the trap or the shoulder. That tension might be, chilling right there. You can finish wherever you're at. Maybe get one more round in if it felt good. We'll make our way back to center. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start opening up the hips before we get into child's pose, just to get some lubrication in the joints going. So I'm gonna move my prop out to the side, not push it into my candle and catch the house on fire. And I'm gonna lean back to keep my feet out in front of us. Yeah, we're gonna windshield wiper the legs nice and slow. So you can start to drop the legs over towards one side. I dropped them to the right first. You can might like gravity, just kind of like hold here for a second. And then you're gonna rotate towards the left and letting gravity take hold for a moment. And then you can continue to hold a little bit, or you can start to move back and forth again. Nice, lots of flossing here, getting into the nerves. And it may not feel like a lot, or it might feel like a lot, you know, depending on the rotation, how deep that's going. That's could feel a big pull. It does quite a bit to warm up and get us ready for the rest that follows.
I should probably do this every morning.
I know it's a lot, especially the deep internal rotation when you knock that knee in and down. It's such a pull that might even go, that travels like all the way down the thigh. So we'll finish our round and we're going to get ready for Valasana, child's pose. And here you can play around a little bit. So once you come back to center, we'll make our way onto our hands and knees. And with the big toes together, you might play with the depth here, how it feels. If you want to just get into the movement, you might just take the knees a little bit wide, walking the arms down long, letting the body just kind of open up. If you feel like your hips are way up high, you could put a block or a pillow or even a blanket underneath the sit bones on tops of the ankles, just to add a little bit of support. Otherwise, gravity is just going to take hold and eventually you'll open it back up. Mm-hmm. And see if you can relax completely here, just kind of letting the body settle into place. If you feel like you're fighting or your body feels like it's hesitating, you might be able to send the breath throughout the body, telling the nervous system that we're okay, everything's fine, we're safe. Sometimes our nervous system just takes over and it's so hard to release that tension. Continue to breathe, sending that breath all the way down to the belly. And we're going to walk the hands back in and we're going to wake up the spine and the hips with a little bit of tabletop and cat and cow. So we're going to do this nice and gentle. So from our tabletop, you're going to start to drop that belly, lift the gaze, curl the tailbone up towards the sky. Taking your inhale in if you haven't done so already. And then on your exhale, you can round the spine, pull the navel in, press the floor away from you. Inhale, roll that spine back open into your cow. Yeah, yes, cow pose. Like, whoa, where am I? Mm-hmm. Exhale, round that spine back into your cat. And we'll do one more for good measure, dropping the belly, lifting the gaze. Inhale. And exhale, last time. We'll release it back to center. And now we're going to extend the right leg out to the side, doing a few more rounds of our cat and cow in this position, just to get into the hip a little bit more. So the foot is going to be parallel with the long edge of the mat. You're going to press those knuckles into the floor, and you're going to see if you can drop the belly, lift the gaze, coming up into your cow pose. And then on your exhale, round it into your cat. Inhale into your cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, last time. Exhale, last cat. And we'll release it back to center. You can draw that knee back into place under the hip, and then we'll switch sides. Feeling into this side now, extending the left side, left leg long. Foot parallel with the long edge of the mat, and you can start to drop the belly. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. One side might feel very different. I'm noticing that myself.
Yeah.
We'll go through one more round. You can inhale. Last time. And exhale. Nice cat back. And release, bringing that knee back under. And we're going to come into a toe squat, just to stretch out through the feet, give them some loving. So you can curl the toes under, moving the little pinky toes out to the side. And you can sit up onto the heels, kind of easing your weight on there just to give them a nice wake up call. And we're gonna warm up a little bit through the wrists to distract ourselves while we're here, since this can be so intense. We're gonna start to rotate the wrists one way. You're gonna reach the arms up towards the sky. Feel free to lift up off the heels if you need a little bit of a break. And then go ahead on your exhale, cactus the arms, still rotating the wrist, pinch the shoulder blades back behind you. Lift with the chest, nice opening through the heart space. And then we'll switch the rotation of our wrists. Inhale, reach those arms back up to the sky. Keeping the ribs knitted in, so the spine is long. And then on your exhale, cactus those arms again. Open up through the chest. And we'll go ahead, release. You can uncurl the toes. You can roll the right ankles, pat the feet out if it feels all right. Wiggle the toes. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna come all the way down onto our bellies to come into a cobra and then come up into a seal pose. So you can plant those hands in line with the shoulders, press into the tops of the feet. Then you're gonna lift it up, taking the gaze out for cobra. Elbows hugged in towards the body, shoulders down, the back. Exhale, release it down. Inhale, press into the floor, rise it up. Maybe you continue to keep your hands there for support, or you see if you can hover the hands off the floor. Exhale, lower. We'll do this one more time. Inhale, lift and rise. You can choose your hand placement. Exhale, lower. And now we're going to take the hands wide. I'm coming all the way out to the outside of the mat. You can stay up. Well, yeah, you can plant down through the hands here, pressing the knuckles. You might even be able to grip into the pinky and the thumb for all that support. And you're going to press into the floor, rising up as high as you can go without feeling any kind of pinching in the lower back. So you can keep your arms bent, kind of play around with this. If it gets a little tough to breathe, maybe you've gone a little bit too far. And we're gonna go ahead and lower all the way back down to the floor. We're gonna do this one more time. Let's go ahead and press into the floor, rise it up. Exhale, lower all the way down. And then from here, you're gonna place your left hand in line with the shoulder just for support. And you're gonna reach back, bend into the right leg and reach back the right hand to grab onto the foot. And you're gonna bring it in towards the glute. You feel a nice, gentle, or maybe not so gentle quad stretch. If you feel like you need a little bit of support in the upper body, you can rise up, place the forearm in front of you like you're coming into like a Sphinx pose, but the forearm is parallel with the short edge of the mat, just to make some space in the upper body. And if you feel like you can go deeper and the knee feels okay, you can bring the heel up alongside the glute. But it's a little torque on the knee, so let's play around with how that feels as well. And you can go ahead, release, excuse me, cat. Plant your hand, your right hand down, switch sides, or again, bring that right forearm in front of you. And you can reach back with the left hand, grabbing the foot and bringing it into the glute. Or if it feels all right, you can bring the heel almost alongside the glute. Oh, another cat. Hello. Everybody's coming into town.
What you doing?
Yeah, you're on the floor.
I know.
Let's go ahead, release, making our way back to center. And we're gonna pop it up, back up into our tabletop pose. And this time we're gonna come into supported side plank. So this is a great place for that block, depending on where your fingers are. So I'm gonna turn so I can still face you. Starting on the right side, you're gonna kickstand that right foot out to the side. And this is where you can kind of plant down through the hands, pressing into the knuckles, but still giving the space for the fingertips, seeing how that kind of feels.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then here with the block too, you lift up so high that the spine gets nice and long. And it makes so much space that it's sometimes when you come to the floor, you almost feel like you're collapsing down into the spine. But this height feels very comfortable.
Yeah.
Feel like a little added side stretch. You can sweep the left arm up overhead, bicep along the ears.
Oh, yeah.
And then from here, we'll add on, if you can keep the foot grounded, but if you feel like you can lift that left foot in line with the hip, engage the core, really feel those obliques, like lift that leg, squeeze through the glutes, nice and active through the quad. And that hand can stay, or the arm can stay along the ear, or you can lift it back up towards the sky. Just trying to get the blood pumping. We're going to continue to open up through the quads. So see if you can reach back and grab the left foot with the left hand. And you might just stay here. Again, you might feel a nice pull, nice opening in the quad, but if you can, you might be able to kick the foot into the hand a little bit. Little activation through the front of the hip flexor, quad.
That feels good.
Yeah. And almost you even feel it in the chest and in the shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Abdomen too, get a nice stretch.
Yeah. And we're going to go ahead and release our hold. And you can take the foot back down and make your way. We're going to transition into low lunge on Janisasana, or you can take the foot and see if you can kind of float it, kind of scooching your way. Might even grab the foot and place it up there, working on some of that hip mobility. And once your foot's up in between your palms, you're You can rise all the way up, making a little square with the legs. Getting into the hips a lot here, you're going to really engage through the front of the right quad, so the right hip flexor. You're tucking the tailbone in, spine is up nice and long. With that engagement, you might be able to kind of play here, taking it down nice and slow.
Yeah.
And as you feel yourself open up, you might be able to really drop the hips. Really focusing on keeping that pelvis tucked right now.
Okay.
Keeping everything nice and long. It's a lot of active flexibility
I
here.
really feel this.
Yeah.
It feels good. I'm like, whoa, I should have been doing this.
I know, it's crazy how just keeping yourself so tight, like so, I guess just so the muscles active while you're in this position. It's like, that's a lot of sensation. And then as you start to really open up, maybe you relax a little bit, letting the hips drop and let gravity taking over. And then we're going to do a little bit more flossing here, but it's again going to be that active flexibility flossing. You can use a block here if you want to kind of have something to support on to guide you, or you can kind of try to use, you're not going to go all the way back. So you get a little bit of wiggle room here, but starting up in that on the low lunge position, we're going to straighten the left leg, leaning forward towards like almost coming into half splits. So this is where that block would come in handy just to hold you in place. You only need one. And then we're gonna focus on lifting back up in that lunge position. So you're gonna kind of floss between these two, and you might get a good rhythm here. And you don't have to go, let's say like, all the way back if you were going into full Ardha Hanumanasana and all the way forward in Anjaneyasana. Just these slow transitional movements back and forth, using the hands to kind of help you float or using that block. And you can keep the toes flat, pressed onto the floor so the toes point when you come into your half splits, or you can try to flex them back towards the face, but might feel that stability kind of wobble a little. And we're focusing on hinging from the hips. So you'll feel a big sensation in the hamstring of the left leg. A lot of repetitive motions right now. We'll finish our round. Wherever you are, we'll meet back in our low lunge. And from here, we're going to come into easy twist. So you might plant that block down again, since that palm will be towards the floor, depending on, is it your right hand or your left hand?
I have the block in my left hand now and my right knee's down. Is that right?
Yes.
Left, right knee down. Okay.
So the right hand will plant down. But which finger, which hand was it that you?
Oh, my left.
Injured?
My left.
Okay. All right. So
Pointer.
we're good for now. We're good for now. But since we're going to be doing on both sides, grab that block to keep it even. We're going to come into our easy twist. So you're going to curl the toes under, lift the knee off the floor like you're coming into runner's lunge, and see if you can keep those knees in line, so facing the top of the mat. So you're really pressing into the ball of the left foot. We're going to start to twist it over towards the left, reaching that left arm up to the sky. And go ahead and bring that left hand back down. We're going to lower the knee down, and we're going to take our first downward facing dog. So you can sweep that left foot back. You could also take dolphin if you haven't tried that one already, and that's on the forearms. So that's the same same position as down dog, but you're on the forearms, so the hands are just kind of hanging out there. It's a little bit, I find dolphin very challenging because of my shoulder, the limited shoulder range really gets in the way. So you could jump back.
Yeah, I like down dog. I like the stretch of my shoulders and chest with down dog.
Mhm.
And hips and everything.
Yeah. So from our first down dog, you can pedal out the feet just to stretch out through the hamstrings. Might feel good to make little rainbows with the hips. Just swaying the hips from side to side. We're going to make our way up to the top of our mats, however you'd like to get there. Step, walk, hop. We'll meet in halfway lifts. So you can inhale and exhale. First forward folds. You can bend those knees as much as you need to. The arms are just kind of hanging out there and you want to give them something to do. You can grab your block and just rest them there, take them out of the equation. Letting the breath travel up and down the body. Let's go ahead and send the weight into our heels. We're going to press into those feet, bend the knees, roll the spine all the way up to Tadasana. Mountain pose. You can roll the shoulders back, arms down by your side. We're going to get those glutes, the legs fired up for a second. And we're going to try to balance and float on our toes for a brief moment. So coming into Utkatasana, chair pose, inhale and reach those arms up towards the sky. Exhale, bring the hands together at the center of the heart for Anjali Mudra and send the hips back like you're going in that chair, sending the weight into the heels. Just for a moment, actually. Still lifting with the spine, so the spine is nice and long. Checking in with those knees to see if they're behind the toes, squeezing the glutes, squeezing the legs, pulling in the core, engaging the pelvic floor. And continue to breathe. Try not to hold your breath. Go ahead and straighten the legs, maybe shake them out. Giving yourself a little wiggle. And then we're gonna see if we can get up on our tippy toes for even just a moment here, building the strength in our toes. So we're gonna come back into our chair pose. So inhale, reach the arms up towards the sky. Exhale, hands to heart. Sink it back into your chair pose. And then instead of sending the weight into the heels, send the weight into the toes. And see if you could just lift the heels just a little bit off the floor. Pressing into the ball of the feet, finding the pinky toe edge, the big toes. Again, keeping those knees behind the toes, so hips are still way back. And maybe you see if you can lift the heels up a little higher, coming up onto the tippy toes. And you might be able to play here, lowering down out of it with control. Seeing if you could pop back up. If you lose your balance. And a lot of engagement here, especially you feel it so much in the core, you're finding that stability. And go ahead and lower those heels down, straighten the legs, shake it out. Let's come into forward fold. So you can hinge from the hips, dropping the crown of the head and the arms towards the ground. And would you like to attempt like Malasana, garland pose, yogi squat, there's tons of names of it, like the deep squat, or
Yeah.
how do the hips feel?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know the different terms, but yeah, the kind that you go into the lift, the one pose beforehand. What's it called? You go like that and then you go forward.
Wait. Let me. What was it again?
The deeps, when you sit real deep with your butt
Mhm.
almost on your heels, and then you put your elbows on your knees and you go forward to that pose where you lift your feet off.
Oh,
With-
crow pose?
Hmm.
Is it? So
No.
you said
As
from
you go-
here and then crow?
Oh, yeah.
Or-
Oh, that's called crow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it right? Wow. Yeah. I admire you so much. You're so strong that you can do that. I can bounce a little bit. That's about it. But this one I do a lot to try to open up and
Mhm.
keep my Achilles limber.
Yeah.
Ooh, I need a break.
Yeah. It's a lot. So you could do it with the block underneath of you. So when you come to sit down on it, then you can focus on pressing the knees apart.
Oh,
And then as you start to open up, you can, lower it down onto the next. Feel that opening, and maybe even lowering it a little bit lower.
yeah.
And it takes all that pressure out, the gravity pushing down on you. This feels pretty good, And then
Yeah.
when you're ready to engage and lift. So I'm not visualizing the pose that you're talking about of the stretching of the Achilles. What the heck am I talking about? You know what I'm talking about. The only thing I can think of is Skandasana, to stretch out through the
Oh,
heels.
no, when I squat like this and force my heels down,
Mhm.
when I'm flat-footed and with the heels down just like this, I feel such a good stretch in my
Oh, yeah.
Achilles that I think it keeps that plantar fasciitis away.
Yes, yeah. So are your knees or your feet in closer?
No, should my feet be close?
It's kind of up to you. So like depending on your pelvis.
Okay.
I have to take my feet a little bit wider because my pelvis is wider. Because the closer I get, the less range I have, which
Right.
all in practice. But Garland is about the opening of the groin, letting those hips, the inner thighs open up.
So this is Garland?
Yes.
Garland? Okay.
Yeah, it's called Garland. Yogi squat is the like controversial term, and then or Malasana is the Sanskrit word.
Okay.
Yes, it's a lot. So you can lift it up, taking a little. It's not a wide-legged forward fold, but feet a little bit wider than hip distance. You can grab the ankles, sway. We'll release the hands down to the floor. You're going to toe heel the feet back together, hip width distance apart. Just for a little transitional action, we'll inhale for halfway lift. Nice long spine. And exhale, hands to the floor. We'll step it back, lowering down onto the knees. And we'll come back into child's pose one more time before switching over to our back and getting into a little bit more of the hips laying down. So you can rest the forehead to the floor one more time. Noticing how this Balasana feels compared to the first one. And in English, it's child's pose, but in Sanskrit, Balasana means baby pose,
Oh, huh.
baby posture, baby, yeah. Let's go ahead, lock those hands back in. And I just realized we skipped a whole side.
I was just thinking that with our left knee down.
Yeah, I
And
just realized that. We
that
can
rough.
we can fit that in there, right? You know.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm gonna turn just so face you.
It
Coming
must have,
into yeah,
it must
I
have
think
hit us at the same time.
yeah. When I was like, what did we miss? Something's wrong here. Coming into supported side plank on this side, and you can grab your block just like on the first side, lift it up. You can sweep that right arm, bicep along the ears, get that nice little stretch going. How's the pressure in your fingers
Oh.
feel?
It's fine like this. This is great.
Okay, good, okay. If you can engage and lift that hip up in line with that leg up in line with the hip. Awesome. And you can either reach that arm back up to the sky or keep it up along the ear. And reach back, grab the right ankle, right foot with the right hand. And you might just keep it here, stretching out the calf or the thigh, or you can kind of push that foot into the hand, kicking almost like you're coming into a little side plank dancer. Like stretch through the shoulder, chest, torso. It feels too good. It feels so good.
Mhm.
And you can release. We're going to go ahead and take that right foot, bring it up in between the palms. You can grab the foot and guide it there. And I'm going to lift all the way up, making that little square with the hips and engaging the left thigh this time. So tucking the pelvis, engaging through the left leg, pressing the right foot into the floor. And then as you open it up, you might be able to find some movement, sinking a little bit lower. Taking your time here. And then you can relax, let gravity take hold for a moment if it feels all right. Letting the hips drop. And then we'll go ahead and lift it back up into our high low lunge. And then again, you can grab your block to aid you a little bit, or you can see if you could straighten the leg, kind of doing that flossing again, and just leaning forward from the hips, feeling that right hamstring start to activate and open up now, and then rebend back into your Anjaneyasana and start to flow back and forth. So you're really gripping, you almost feel like your feet are gripping into the floor. You could curl the toes, the back toes under too, if that feels like you have a little bit more, I don't know, sensation in the floor, or you can keep the toes, the foot flat, the top of the foot flat. And we'll go ahead and finish our round. You want to get one more in, meet me back in our low lunge Anjaneyasana. And we're going to bring that left hand back down to the floor, grabbing our block. You're going to curl the back toes under if you haven't already. Lift the left knee off the ground. Like again, our low lunge stance. And then you can reach the right arm up to the sky, coming into our easy twist. Bring that right hand back down to the floor, lower the knee, and we're going to sweep that right leg back behind, making our way all the way down onto our backs. And before we settle in for Shavasana, let's go ahead and windshield wiper the legs again like we did before. So you can drop the legs over to the right, knees bent. As much as you want, you can kind of play with the depth of how bent your knees are. Flowing back and forth. Let's go ahead and come back to center. Just pulling both knees into the chest to give yourself a little squeeze. You can rock back and forth to massage the lower back. And let's go ahead. And we're gonna go ahead and jump into happy baby. So we'll start by grabbing both the knees again. You can grab both knees with each hand and then letting the knees open up, holding on to them to keep them in place. This might feel plenty good. If you'd like to continue to add on and pop up into your Ananda Balasana, you can reach the feet up towards the sky with your knees bent, grabbing a hold of your pants, your ankles, the big toes with the 2-piece fingers, the outside edges of the feet, and use the elbows to press the knees apart while dragging the feet down towards the ground, grounding down through the tailbone, the shoulders, the neck, as much as you can. But to protect the spine, keep that tailbone grounded as much as possible. And then whenever you're ready, you can release your hold. Any other movements, yoga poses or not, something that feels good, you can do before we enter Shavasana. And you're more than welcome to extend those legs out and taking Shavasana on the floor flat. You can bring like pillows or blankets underneath the knees to help support the lower back, or even bringing the feet up to the wall, taking legs up the wall. Use the candle. So letting the blood flow all the way down, circulating back through the body. It's a great alternative if you'd like to just add a little bit more to your Shavasana. But whatever you decide, get yourself nice and comfortable. You can roll the shoulders down the back, take up space. Palm shining up towards the sky. And close the eyes, keep the gaze soft. And start to settle in here for a few rounds of breath, letting our bodies process everything we've just done. You can soften through the face, relax the jaw, Release the space between the eyebrows and the corners of the eyes. Taking a moment to feel grateful for jumping on the mat, moving the body, feeling grateful for whatever practice we continue to come back to. Just stepping on the mat and moving is enough for a big round of applause. No matter where you're at on your yoga journey, your practice will always be there. Whether we fall out of practice, whether we advance in our practice, the practice doesn't change and it's always waiting for us. And start to deepen our breath, coming back to the present moment. You can start by wiggling fingers and toes. You can rock the head from side to side, massaging the back of your head. Moving as slow as you'd like to. You can reach the arms up overhead for a full body stretch if it feels good. And you can choose to roll over to one side and pause in a little fetal position if it feels good. Again, so many feel good things. Or you can rock it up to sit back in Sukhasana or another comfortable seated position. Sometimes I like to just hop up onto the knees. We'll take a moment to check in with ourselves one more time. So you can close the eyes, keep the gaze soft. Rest your hands wherever they feel comfortable. Just noticing how you feel after our practice. You can bring the hands together at the center of the heart. And instead of Anjali Mudra, I'd like you to take the Lotus Mudra. So that's keeping the pinkies and the thumbs together and widening the 3 center fingers, so like a little flower, the lotus. You bring it up to the heart space. Continuing to breathe. And part of yoga philosophy in the 8 limbs, in the yamas and niyamas, there is a limb or part of it called, it's the act of surrender. That's just, letting life go through the flow, surrendering to the process of life, no matter where it takes us. Accepting that things are either right or wrong, they just are. So when our practice kind of gets thrown off, or we're not as active as we want to be, or our eating's off, or all of that, and we just feel a mess, just the act of surrender allows us to just be like, okay, so this is it right now, but life is always changing, and tomorrow can look different, and next week could look different, and next week I might fall off again, and I'll just jump back on and do the things that feel good for me and my body, my container. And that's all we can do. I like to finish this practice by chanting Om 1 time. You do not have to participate. You can do so in your head, or if you'd like to out loud, you can exhale everything out of your lungs. Inhale deeply to chant. Big breath in. Om. And you may bow forward if you'd like. Thank you.
I feel so much better.
Yay!
My hip feels better too. It really, really does.
That's awesome.